Time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Once again, great to have you in studio today. Brian Klimowski, head meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Belmont with us. Welcome back.
Nice to be back, Paul.
At least twice a year.
Every time.
Spring, summer prediction, fall, winter prediction. So that's why Brian's here. We're going to look ahead at fall and winter and kind of see what we're looking at. But before we do that, let's backtrack a little bit and talk about monsoon season. It has been it was a very deadly monsoon season. We had 10 fatalities over there near Payson after you said the Highline fire. It was the Highline fire. Mm-hmm. They got swept away. 10 out of the 14 folks in that group. That killed 10 people in that one. And then we've had the other interesting thing this summer was that odd microburst that hit up at Lake Powell.
That's right.
And damaged, I think, docks at both Waweep, Antelope, and Bullfrog. Mm-hmm. It also swamped a lot of boats, and then there was a woman who had her arm amputated because of injuries caused by that. Houseboats damaged. So, yeah, when stuff like that comes in, you guys really zoom in on those events, don't you?
We do. I mean, it was a very active season this year, especially early. Mm-hmm. You know, we started out July with 2 weeks. You know, the second and third week in July, we actually issued more flash flood warnings in those 2 weeks than we had the entire seasons of 2015, 2016, and a normal year. So it was extremely active, very hazardous out there. It started out with a bang.
Wow.
Absolutely.
And what? Okay, is there any reason as to why it did start out with such a big bang this year?
You know, I did some research on that, and we had a certain atmospheric configuration which brought the storms basically from the north to the south. So Yavapai County, Gila County, and parts of Phoenix really got nailed in July, while the northern part of the state had their respite, at least for the early part of the year. But it kept on forming and moving over the same areas, so the ground became saturated, made flash floods much more likely. And then we had the burn scars, which also promoted a lot of flooding. You know, down near Mayer, we had the big flood down there.
We can't forget that one too, because the Goodwin Fire burn scar definitely got hit this year at the beginning, and they were having some flooding down there as well.
Absolutely. A lot of homes damaged down by Big Bug Creek.
Mm-hmm. So very volatile at the beginning. Okay, so just the way the weather was working out.
Absolutely. Now then, toward the second half of the monsoon, things kind of dried up. Actually, most locations in northern Arizona received most of their monsoon moisture within the first month. You know, between like July 7th and August 7th, that's when most people received their moisture. Now we've had more scattered thunderstorms since then. Even yesterday, we had some storms up in the Flagstaff area that dropped some hail and rain.
So monsoon this year, was it above average, regular, normal? I felt like I was last year I felt, and my wife feels the same way, that we were kind of stuck inside. It seemed like that, it seems, when I was a kid and lived here, it seemed like you could almost set your watch at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you're in Oak Creek Canyon and you're playing at Slide Rock or in the creek or wherever you are, Verde River. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the storm was going to build, it was going to rain for a few hours, then it was going to dissipate, and then you could go back outside and do your thing. This year and last year, I feel like I feel this way, that it's here sometimes in the morning, then sometimes it's back in the afternoon, then it's back at night, sometimes the middle of the night, sometimes first thing in the morning. It just doesn't seem like we can really set our watch by it anymore.
Well, what the heck is going on?
I know, what is going on?
Let me tell you.
This is ridiculous.
When we have flow out of the northeast, it kind of promotes a different type of thunderstorm development than we're used to. And what we see is storms forming off of, let's say, the Black Mesa or the Chuxas, you know, out of northeast Arizona. And those storms eventually get here late in the evening. So that's when we see more of the nocturnal storms. Sometimes those storms stick around overnight and we see them in the morning. We had a lot of that, especially early in the monsoon, and it was unusual, you know, to see the normal cycle to where they develop around 11 or 12 over the high country, and then by 3 in the afternoon they're gone, and, you know, just a memory for us in the high country, but now you're dealing with them in the valleys. That wasn't the case for much of this year. It was unusual. But you ask me, Was it above normal,
Yeah,
below
yeah, back
normal,
to
or
that.
near normal? My answer would be yes. It kind of depends where you are. If you're
Okay,
kind of
all right.
along or south of the rim, it was generally above normal. I mean, places, especially around Cottonwood, were almost, about 70% above normal.
I want to say, because back when we were talking monsoon at the end of July, we were talking rainfall numbers, and like Prescott had an amazing amount of
They had
rain
an
this year.
amazing amount, yeah.
I think a lot of folks really got a good dose this year of monsoon.
But then along and north of the Mogollon Rim, it was a different story. Many of those stations are actually below normal for the monsoon. Flagstaff, right at normal. We hit it really hard early in the season, and then it's kind of flattened out ever since then. I have the graph for Cottonwood here, and it looks like you finished up about 20% above normal.
Okay. What is normal? Do we have that number?
Yeah, I got it. It's about 5.5 inches.
5.5 inches.
Yeah.
Do you have Prescott there?
I don't.
Okay,
But
okay.
I looked at them, and they're about 30% above normal.
Okay.
They'll see 7 inches a year or so.
Okay. All right.
And they saw significantly more. Some of the mountains saw tremendous amounts, like 12 inches of rain this monsoon. So
You brought up rain gauges that you guys have. Well, I don't know if a rain gauge is a proper thing to say, but I know, like, when the Goodwin fire was happening, there were extra rain stations being put up prior, because once again, the way the summer works here, it's just really hot and dry, and we get those wildfires, and then it never fails. There's always one area that has this wildfire, and then the monsoon is just like right behind it, and there's that secondary danger coming through there. It seemed like maybe you guys were putting up more rain meters out and about, especially around the burn scars, to know what was going on.
Not us. This time you can thank the county and the state, for funding extra rain gauges that help us monitor the flash floods. Especially useful over the Goodwin fire this year. We did put one right up above the Highline fire this year that we had, but it's normally a collaborative effort between the county.
Okay.
So
maybe we should reiterate this, because I know when we had that family of 10 die over by Payson because of the flash flood that came through, and I was telling you that just last week there was a story from the survivor, his 2 kids and wife. They just barely made it out of there in time. There was a lot of talk at that time, well, there's got to be a better warning system. There's got to be this and there's got to be that. And I was telling you that that's why I have you guys come down in the spring, or just as monsoon season hits. Actually, I guess this will be your 3rd time here this year. Tony Merriman was here at one point in time this year. But we talked about the dangers of the monsoon, and as soon as monsoon season hits, there's Monsoon Season Awareness Week.
Yeah.
And that's when you guys come in and we sit down and we talk about those dangers. And is there any way to better warn somebody about something like this going on? I mean, in these canyons that we're in, it's really hard to even get some reception sometimes.
Yeah. It's best to know your environment and know the threats and the potential threats. If you are in canyons during monsoon season, you have to be aware that there could be flash floods coming down. Carry one of our NOAA weather radios. We do have reception in most areas, including Ellison Creek, that will warn you if there's a flash flood in your area. So there's tools you can use, but really nothing beats awareness and just keeping your eyes on the skies and just knowing your escape routes depending on what situation you're in. If you're high in the mountains hiking and you start to hear thunder, get down off the high mountains and exposed areas. If you're camping down in valleys, in monsoon season, you sense there might be thunderstorms in the area, just know your escape routes very quickly, and just don't camp, near stream bottoms. That's a basic rule as well. Just be aware, know the threats, and know how to avoid them.
Okay, all righty. Let's take our first break. National Weather Service head meteorologist Brian Klimowski in studio today. Website for you, weather.gov. As simple as that, right?
Easy.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a quick 2-minute break. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new.
Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened?
Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
Welcome back to Countywide. Brian Klimowski in studio today with the National Weather Service in Belmont. Weather.gov is the website. Let's quick touch on hurricanes. They have been obviously a huge discussion this year. What's going on with those? They have been, well, again, we're having these record hurricanes, these record events happening that people just, I think I saw the words, it's immeasurable. That this hurricane is immeasurable. It's creating stuff that we've never ever seen before.
Yeah, we've had a very active hurricane season, you know, and we have to keep in mind, we're barely halfway through the hurricane season. It typically extends through November, so we have more yet to come. We're already above normal in the amount of hurricanes this year. Now I'm talking the Northern Atlantic hurricane season, because that's what everybody basically focuses on here. So we're above normal. You know what, we've had 5 major hurricanes, 14 named storms, I believe, so far. Average is 12 or 13, so very active. And, you know, most significant of all, they have hit very vulnerable areas. You know, Houston with all the rain, Puerto Rico, Irma coming across Cuba and Florida. Very damaging, very serious. I mean, we are yet to see the full impact of these hurricanes as we're still, you know, looking at the damage.
Oh, sure. You know, you got Harvey, then you got Irma, and then
Maria.
Juan.
Was it Juan? That's right.
And then Maria. Yeah, so just back to back to back, it seemed like. I mean, you look over that side of the country, it's just one right after the other.
Yeah.
It's like somebody's bowling out there with hurricanes. They just seem to be on the same path every time.
And we should expect more.
No, we should expect more.
Should expect more.
Okay, all right. Let's look ahead.
Okay.
You can use science if you want to, but I would rather use a crystal ball. But I'm looking I'm looking ahead at fall and winter. To me, Arizona, and I've said this to you before, and I've said this on the show before too, it feels like it is literally a flick of a switch around in this state where, oh yeah, it's September 22nd. Was that the first day of fall? Yeah, okay. There, we turn off summer, here's fall. And it feels like it just happened this way. I mean, I've literally watched trees in the Flagstaff area go from being green to burgundy red in a day. It's unbelievable how the weather changed and so fast.
And it just happened.
Yeah. So again, I'm being inconvenienced by this, Brian. What can we do about it? Does it seem like it's been that way? I mean, we've had some freezing temperatures. Yeah. So tell me about fall.
Fall, you know, fall does come quickly. You know, this is the time of year that we get, you know, our first major troughs or cold fronts that come across the area. And those make a big difference because it not only sweeps out the moisture, which keeps it muggy and the low temperatures kind of elevated, So it sweeps out the moisture, makes it very dry, and then brings in cooler temperatures. So we can very quickly go from our normal of lows in the upper 40s to 50s and highs in the upper 70s, low 80s this time of year, to, crashing lows below 20 degrees, 19, 18 degrees, very dry. Everything freezes, leaves turn colors, and boy, all of a sudden it feels like fall. And that's exactly what happened this year when we had that cold front come through last week.
It happened fast.
It happened very quick.
I'm getting my truck in the morning, and there's that little frost icon next to the temperature almost every day.
Yep.
And fall is going to run for, how long does typically fall last before we full-blown winter hits?
Before we see snow, our first inch of snow on average comes in late November, November 20th.
Okay.
So we'll give it that much. But we have some years that it seems like fall just seems to last a lot longer. We don't get that first snow, and then, I would love a good month or two of this relatively dry, breezy, warm temperatures in the afternoon. But, if you look at the outlook and the official forecasts for what this fall looks like, everything is steering toward pretty normal. There aren't any big signals out there to indicate wetter, drier, warmer, or cooler right now.
Do we have a decent amount of moisture during the fall months? Late September, October, early November, do we have rain events? I mean, we had a little one yesterday, but that was pretty secluded to where they were happening. But do we usually have any events that kind of take the state and kind of keep it wet until winter arrives?
It can, and it can take the form of the Pacific hurricanes that kind of sweep up, and we kind of get their moisture like we did a couple years ago with Odile. Dropped a lot of moisture over Arizona. That's one way it can happen. Or we can just get these strong systems that come in, somewhat like what happened yesterday, but oriented a little farther south where it pulls in more moisture. But yeah, the fall is certainly not as dry as May and June is in Arizona, but we normally have enough moisture to keep us going. But it's been dry. August was dry over Arizona. September has been dry. We need some moisture, and right now I don't see any on the horizon.
So for winter, when winter does arrive, our storms don't necessarily or generally come out of like the Baja in Mexico. They tend to come out of the northwest. Is that true?
Well, we'll just say west, either northwest, southwest. They come out of the west over the area from the Pacific. The more southerly track they have, normally the wetter they are.
What's winter looking like?
Winter's looking... Again, not many signals. The Climate Prediction Center just issued what they call a La Nina watch, meaning it looks like we're going to be tipping into a La Nina this year, which isn't far from where we were last year.
Is that wetter than normal or drier than normal?
Typically a bit drier than normal.
A little bit drier.
And maybe a bit cooler than normal.
Okay, because I was asking if El Nino or La Nina was out there. So.
Yeah, so La Nina looks like it's going to be out there. But again, our typical winter has a lot of variability from very wet to very dry. This just kind of shifts that a little bit toward the drier side. Now, it's interesting because last year ended up being wet, ended up being wet,
It
quite
felt like
wet.
It felt like it was.
Almost an average amount of snow, but a lot of moisture. We had a lot of rain up at the high country last year. That's why Snowball had one of their best years ever.
Yeah.
Up in the super high country, it was all snow. So.
Yeah, but they were warmer storms, huh? So that means they're not coming out of the Pacific Northwest then. They're coming out of the Southwest.
Southern California. I mean,
tropical stuff? Is that what that is? Kind of tropical stuff coming up out of Mexico?
But, we've kind of heard about the Pineapple Express, that stream of moisture that might come from Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
That's what we had.
Right.
That's why California had so much rain last year.
Okay, all right. We've got to take another break. Head meteorologist for the National Weather Service in Belmont, Brian Klimowski, in studio today. Weather.gov is the website. Stick around, countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
Mateo.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber. You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
Your daughter is having trouble learning French. Do you A, hire a tutor?
Bonjour.
B, enforce a French-only rule at home? Or C, watch some foreign films? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. Brian Klimowski with the National Weather Service in Belmont in studio today. Weather.gov is the website. Open house coming up on Saturday, September 30th. From when to when?
You got it. This is a part of the Flagstaff Festival of Science. We call it 10 Best Days of the Year. Our open house will be from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. We'll have 3 balloon launches. If you want to see, 3 of them this year. One at 11, 1 and 4 p.m. You want to see how we launch our balloons. If you want to talk to meteorologists about just how we forecast the weather and see our facilities and the neat computers we have.
Okay, so we get to go inside and go in the room. I've been there.
Yeah.
So you get to go in and see. They got some really nice technology up there.
You bet.
To sit there and predict the weather. And it's pretty amazing how the balloons. Let's hit the balloons. Let's show folks just how interesting these balloons are, because it's not just a balloon they're putting up in the air. I mean, it's got this little box on it that has all kinds of interesting things in it, because that's my technical term for it.
Yep.
But that goes up in the atmosphere, and it grabs all this information as it's going up. Is this correct?
Yeah, that does. Temperature, humidity, wind speed, wind direction, pressure are all sent back to us every second as it's rising through the atmosphere for about an hour and a half.
But this is happening all over the world?
At the same time.
At the same time?
At the same time, and it's so important. So as our balloons are rising up through the atmosphere everywhere across the world, that also has an upper program.
Every weather service station
is launching balloons as well. So in Australia, in the Soviet Union, here in America, they're all going up at the same time. So we can get a snapshot of the atmosphere of the conditions all around the globe so that we can initialize our numeric models.
Wow.
It's very important they're all done at the same time.
And everyone's working together.
Absolutely. Hand in hand.
For the weather.
That's right.
We should do that with everything. We should do that with everything. So I think that's amazing. So, okay, so we're going to see the balloon launches. We've got one, you said 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m. So you're going to launch those. We've got your facility. Talk to meteorologists about what it is, weather is, how to predict it, and everything else. It's difficult. Weather prediction's difficult in the state of Arizona. Yeah, and we've discussed this on the show too, where, I mean, you've got up here above the Mogollon Rim, then you got just below the Mogollon Rim, and then you got way down south, where we've got all 4 climates and regions in the state. It's a challenging state to predict the weather, but I think you guys do a pretty darn good job.
We do our best, and we love to hear from our public. You know, if you live in a town that maybe we're not quite getting it right, we like to hear about it, because we depend on observers and our public to help us become better forecasters.
I notice you guys are getting a lot more photos, too, of events that are taking place in people's backyards as well, because I'll see you tweet those out as well from the website. So, yeah, find their Twitter as well, because that is a really good one. I'm on that one with you guys, and I see the pictures that come in from all over the place. Just pictures of, I've got hail the size of baseballs and stuff in my yard, so that's always really neat stuff. Okay, so open house again is on Saturday, September 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's part of Flagstaff's
Festival of Science.
Festival of Science. Balloon launches are at 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. Brian.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Paul,
okay,
thank
so
you.
we're going to have a normal to above normal winter.
We'll see.
Possibly.
That's right.
All right. That's today's Countywide. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again next time.